The sixth principle of quantum consciousness, the observer effect and the collapse of possibility. Tosh 1, possibility is a field. Observation is the collapse. In the quantum realm, particles exist as probabilities until observed. Your active observation collapses the infinite into the specific. Before that moment, anything is possible. After it, one path crystallizes and the rest fade. This isn't science fiction, it's quantum fact. And in human experience, it's equally true. Every time you make a judgment, speak a belief, or project an expectation, you are collapsing a field of infinite options into one lived reality. You don't just live in the world, you carve it. 2, you don't watch reality, you co-author it. We grow up thinking life happens to us, that outcomes are determined out there. But the observer effect reveals something radical. Your consciousness participates in the outcome. If you believe the world is hostile, you collapse into experiences that confirm it. If you expect love, you shape reality to reflect that expectation. Your inner state is not just your lens, it's the hand on the wheel. You don't attract what you want, you attract what your observation commits to. 3, identity itself is a repeated collapse. Who you think you are, I'm shy, I'm smart, I'm unlucky, is a collapse of infinite potential into a habitual self-observation. Every time you affirm a label, you reinforce its structure in your field. This is why change feels so hard, not because it's unnatural, but because the observer is attached to a fixed self-image. When you stop observing yourself through limitation, new aspects emerge. When you release I always narratives, the wave of possibility begins to rise again. The key isn't to become someone new, it's to observe yourself differently. 4, example, a student and the math myth. A student believes they're bad at math. They freeze in tests, avoid practice, and shrink in class. Every experience reinforces the belief. But this is not a flaw in ability, it's a collapse in observation. The moment a teacher offers a new lens, you're curious, and that's what matters, a shift occurs. The student begins to see themselves as capable. Their attention shifts from I can't to I'm learning. That shift in observation collapses a different reality into place. Progress follows not from effort alone, but from reframing perception. 5, relationships. We collapse others into roles. You don't just collapse possibility in yourself, you do it to others. You see someone as difficult, and your interactions reinforce that pattern. You view your partner as distant and unconsciously respond with withdrawal. The cycle continues. But when you shift the observation, choose to see their struggle, their vulnerability, their effort, you collapse a different version of them into your experience. The other person may not have changed, but your reality with them did. Observation is invitation. It says, this is the version of you I believe in. 6, observation is not neutral. It is creative. Watching something is not the same as witnessing it without impact. The observer creates a subtle gravitational pull. What is focused on gets fed. Focus on what's missing and absence grows. Focus on what's possible and the field responds. This is why mindfulness, prayer, vision boards, and intention setting all work. They aren't positive thinking, they are conscious collapses. They say, of all the infinite versions of reality, I choose this one. And the field aligns, not through magic, but through mechanics. Self-sabotage as unconscious observation. Why do people keep repeating patterns they claim to hate? Because the unconscious is observing from fear, unworthiness, or guilt. Consciously, they may want abundance or love, but unconsciously, they are still observing failure, waiting for betrayal, expecting to lose. The result, a collapse into exactly what was feared. True transformation begins not with effort, but with observation. Changing the result means changing the inner gaze. Where you look from matters more than where you look to. 8, spiritual awakening as expanding the observer. The deeper dimensions of awakening occur when the observer becomes aware of itself. You realize that your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are not fixed. They're waves you've been collapsing into form. This gives you power and responsibility. You can expand your observation to include paradox, nuance, contradiction. You can observe without judgment, witness without collapsing. This is the birth of spacious consciousness, the kind that doesn't limit, but liberates. The awakened being knows, what I observe, I animate. 9, the sacred power of conscious observation. To live in alignment with this principle is to wield one of the greatest tools of transformation, attention. Not scattered, anxious attention, but focused, intentional presence. The one who masters their observation becomes the master of their life. They do not fear possibility, they learn to direct it. They collapse realities that heal, create, unify, and awaken. In the quantum field, the world doesn't respond to what's real, it responds to what's observed. And the observer, when awake, becomes the most powerful creator alive.